Hey folks, this is Ken from Freebird Games, and I got a bit of To the Moon news for you, right in the title. But yeah, so after a couple of years of hard work by a team of awesome people, we can finally say that To the Moon will get a major animated feature film. And it will be a collaborative project between Japan and China, with China doing most of the funding and Japan doing most of the production. Now at this point I can't say, I'm not allowed to say which specific companies are involved, but I can say that they're pretty major, pretty big players in the animation industry, and those who are familiar with the animation industry would probably have heard of them. Now, the whole thing is facilitated by Ultron World, and while you may not have heard of the company yet, but the CEO of the company is actually the catalyst for bringing the film Your Name to China. At this point, what I am allowed to say is that the budget cleared for the project is it's actually pretty significant. It's at, or rather, actually, I'm told above the level for the budget for Your Name, and for a film of its category, that's pretty great. Now, does a good budget guarantee a good film? Not necessarily, but the lack of a budget certainly doesn't help. So we're off to a good ground here. But with all these projects, there's always a bit of a risk, and I can imagine, like, even for me, it's a mix of excitement and nervousness, because things could go great, things could go not so great. But with all types of projects like these, if you don't try, you don't know. And if I didn't take the risk back then, To the Moon wouldn't even exist. So all I can say is that we'll try our best to keep the original soul of the game intact. And for me personally, I'll actually have a role in the script writing and editing and supervising process as well. While I won't have absolute say over the project, obviously, but I will be able to help steer it in the right direction. Now, the way I see the adaptions, the way I see what makes a good adaption is that a good adaption has the heartbeat of the original, but it also has to have a mind of its own. Because I've seen a lot of adaptions go right and go wrong, and the ones that go wrong, sometimes the obvious mistake is to stray too far from the original and lose its way. But I've also seen a lot of cases where they try to make it so much exactly beat by beat to the original source material that it doesn't work out because of the medium differences. So even with something like To the Moon, and which by video game standards, it's actually not that interactive, and it's pretty linear, which sets a good ground for adaptation of into an animated film. But you'd be surprised at how much the little subtle interactions, even just the process of walking, affects the beats and the pacing and the overall player experience of the story. So to get the similar experience and achieve the same thing and tell the same story effectively, we will definitely need to play it by ear and do things in ways that work for the medium. So for me, it's really about just conveying an experience. It's about conveying a feeling. It's about conveying that what you feel at the end, when just before the credit starts to roll. Now, to clarify, I'm still making games, and that's my main thing. I tell stories through games, and as I was saying, I think on Twitter recently, I just started more actively working on the next game. And for those who played Finding Paradise, you would probably get a gist that things are gonna get pretty weird from here on. So that'll be fun. Anyhow, I just want to say also that thank you all so much for supporting To the Moonland, the whole series. And I know this gets thrown around a lot, but for something like an indie game, it's unfathomable to me that that there would be that it would get here. So that's all thanks to you guys. So had it not been for you, it really wouldn't be where it is, either the game or this development or anything else. And even just for me as a person, I suppose. So yeah, thank you for your support, and thanks for being a part of it. Take care, guys. I'll look forward to updating you on the progress.